Right then, we're going to start off this morning with promoting and maintaining a strong and functional hoof capsule. This is my everyday approach to keeping feet strong, horses sound and customers happy. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that I like to do when I'm showing the horses, and then we're going to bring a horse in, we'll have a coffee break, we'll shoot 2 feet and go through that. So just to start off, there are 5 key factors that contribute to keeping, in my opinion, a strong and functional hoof capsule. Farrier, genetics, conformation, stable environment management, nutrition, diet and hoof management. And I've just put next to the side of it, obviously farrier, that's our main concern. Genetics and the conformation is completely out of our control. The stable environment management, nutrition, diet, hoof management, as I've put next to the side of it, it's very hard to influence, it depends on the individual client. And I'm not going to stand up here and promote a hoof supplement or a liquid. And I do use them as well to help keep feet strong. But there's other things I like to do that I think you can maintain a foot for the full shoeing period. So when I say that, I mean the day you shoe it, you go back at the suitable shoeing cycle and it looks the same that distance later. Obviously the stable environment management, that's really important, and we all do horses that are on the wrong type of bedding, but it is so hard to influence that, and I think especially paper and your shavings, but especially paper, dries the feet out. And when I say the environmental management, I think a lot of it's to do with the feet when they're out in the mud and the mud drying the feet out, and it's all to do with the level of the pH in the soil. But I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you what the ideal level is, but I've shod horses and I've shod for a long time, and the feet have improved, and they've gone and they've got a decent hoof capsule, and they've moved to a different environment, and you go back and you think, well no, has someone been out to this and pulled all nails down and put smaller ones in, and the feet look absolutely terrible. And luckily the customer's had me for a while, so she knows that I haven't just turned into a no-shower overnight or something. But a lot of it is to do with the pH level of the soil and the environment. And obviously the diet issue. And like I said about the lotions and the potions, I think it's great if you can get on a level, and at the moment I've been doing some work for Pro Feet Liquid, and I've got some horses on that as an experiment to see how much the foot grows in the same environment and not on anything else, and it is improving, but I think it basically gets left to us with basic farrier to solve the problem now, and the customer just expects the horses to go for the full length, no shoes off, horses sound, and we have to take care of all of those 5 in one. So, and as I've put at the bottom there, our job would be easy if every horse and pony had the conformation and hoof capsule to perform everything asked of it barefoot. I was always told it was the start at the end of the feet when they started to be shod, and it becomes challenging at times to maintain a strong and functional hoof capsule for the whole shoeing period. Which is right, if every horse was barefoot and every horse had the conformation and the foot conformation and type to cope, then our job, we wouldn't be here today talking about it. So that's how I started to think about this talk today. So we'll move on to the next part. So basically, I thought how am I going to go about this, and I thought I'll try and put across my understanding of a strong and functional hoof capsule. And I started going out and looking at horses, and I was looking at the feet, and I was thinking, well, this horse has got strong feet, but it's very hard to put a picture on here and say, this is what your ideal foot should look like. It's strong, it's functional, because there's so many different foot types and foot conformation types. So, but they can fit into any of the different types that we're going to talk about, and they can still be strong. But you can only deal with what you've got, and you can only make that strong. But I started to write some stuff down, my understanding on a strong foot can cope with any terrain, climate and work regime without needing any help. It can do anything asked of it, and it can maintain its consistency as a foot. It's not going to chip, it's not going to crack. It's symmetrical in every proportion. It's a solid, sound, functional foundation, has no blemishes, chips, cracks, what we just spoke about. So then I went back to the picture that we all saw when we were back at college of the hoof capsule, shows all the different parts, and then I started to write some stuff about that. And the outer surface of the wall is smooth and straight from the coronary band to the ground, and a dead parallel line. The bottom picture is not a great picture, but you should have even wall thickness all the way around, a nice vaulted sole to cause the sole bridge, to get the strength in the foot and the ground clearance, a large frog, strong open heels. The frog should have no disease, free from disease. Your medial and lateral clefts, so on either side of your frog should be the same depth, medial and laterally, and this is what I would start to put into the ideal foot. And then I've got assessing angles and balance. There's another picture at the top there of the foot, and then to start to show our ideal straight hoof wall, same angle as the buttress. And there's a couple of angles down the bottom. There's the ideal angle, 50 to 55. You've got your sloping past them, and then you've got your upright foot. And that's when I start to think about different foot types. And there's not many feet fit into the ideal. But I'm talking here about a strong and functional hoof capsule. So the second one, which is the sloping angle, it's all the conformation determines the type, and it's all the follow-on from above. So if it has got a long sloping angle, then its foot's going to have a toe flare, and its heels are going to probably be underslung and slung forward, and its bearing's going to be further forward. But you can still shoe that and enhance it to help it to get all your proportions and your balance to make that a strong foot. And same with the upright foot. So what I'm trying to say is that the conformation determines the type. And there's quite a good little saying that conformation determines type, typing influences suitable use, and use determines farriery requirements. And I think that kind of sums it all up in one sentence. That what type it is can still be strong. And it would be great if they were all in the ideal, but then like I said, we wouldn't have to be showing them. So we'll move on to the next picture, which is again just an angle picture. It shows the 4, 50 to 55 behind, 60 to 65. You can see I've put A1, A2, A3. So your front angle, which is your hoof wall, should be the same as your hoof passing axis, the same as your buttress in the ideal situation. And then there's just a picture from the front. My artist skills aren't the best, but I did this the other day. That's just to show again that both your angles, looking straight from the front, dorsal glute, both sides should be the same length, same angle. If you put a line of symmetry down the middle, which mine's not dead in the middle, you should have even both sides, and that's the 90 degrees. So this is still talking about our ideal. So I've done a picture from the bottom, and this is to try and show proportions. So when we start to shoe, we can talk about your toe quarters. So there should be an even distance either side of your toe quarters. And you start to put the foot into a box. And you've probably heard people say about it fitting in the box, and the box is all working on the dot in the middle. It's about 3/8 of an inch back from the pointer frog, and that's on a true well-trimmed frog. That should bifurcate through the centre of your distal interphalangeal articulation, which is your coffin joint. And you start to put the foot into the box. And in the ideal world, on an X-ray, you can see there's extensive extensor process, if you have a line of symmetry straight down from the extensor process, A1 and A2 should be the same, so that you want an even proportion in front of the centre of the articulation and an even portion behind it. But obviously when we go back to the foot types, the ideal is ideal. When you go to the sloping foot, then you need to, with your foot trimming and your shoeing, to get these proportions right. But this is in the ideal situation. I'm not saying that every horse like this goes perfect, because older horses and horses with problems, they go better with the toe proportion A1 shorter than A2 to help break over. And obviously, if you start getting into natural balance side tech, that is radically shortening the toe. So your A1 is going to be a lot shorter than your A2. But I'm a big believer that the horse uses its toe as a leverage to propel its limb forward. So you've got to watch with where you're putting your toe in relation, because the horse needs it to use it to break over and to propel itself forward. So that was just a line of symmetry, just to show the foot. So, but obviously to see the true A1 and A2, you need an X-ray, because frogs can distort like any hoof capsule can distort. So I've got an X-ray here. Oh yeah. So I've got an X-ray here. It's quite a good X-ray. It's very hard to see where the actual true dorsal wall is, because like when we all deal with X-rays, a lot of them don't mark them up properly. They don't mark the junction of the hairline and the hoof wall. So luckily they've took it with the shoes on, so you can actually see where it's. So you want a parallel dorsal wall to your parietal surface of your pedal bone. So, and I just put this up there just to show the proportions. It's very hard to see the back, obviously it finishes there. So on the next one I've put a line on it. So there we can see the line down, and that's just on about the A1 and the A2. So in the ideal situation. And then I've put a picture up here that I drew myself, both lateral views. And the picture at the top is your textbook picture of the ideal foot from the side. And I started to think about, yeah it is, but how many feet do we do that look like that? Which is a good point. And what I think is actually a stronger structure, and this is in my opinion with my everyday shoeing, is the bottom picture, where there's a radius, which I've exaggerated slightly, a slight radius on the toe. And more commonly we see this, where the angle of the heels is just slightly further forward than it's just a slightly slopier angle on the toe, and that's more what I think feet are developing into. So the slight radius on the hoof wall, and I'll get into that when we start with shoeing. I'm not saying that every horse should be like that, and some of you might think it's dumped. I'd rather call it dorsal rounding, which is leaving the strength and the continuity in the hoof wall, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. So the way I like to explain it is with a piece of card. You get a straight piece of card, as soon as you put pressure on the top, it dips in the middle. And when we start talking about feet, we've all seen feet do that. If you have the opposite effect, like that, so you've got the radius, when you put pressure on, it doesn't dip inwards. And we've all seen feet like that. Obviously I'll touch on that at a later date. So we're still on about our ideal. So now I've moved on now. That's basically my understanding of the ideal. But like I said, foot conformation is influenced by digital conformation and past and slope, like we spoke about. So you can have a strong foot, but it fits into your different foot conformation types. So farrier, it's all common sense. Farrier's not rocket science. I'd like to think it wasn't. And I've put down some notes here that I think a good word to say about farrier is it's always a compromise. Farriery has to be a compromise because we're not shoeing a textbook horse in textbook conditions. We're shoeing in everyday conditions. So ideally, what I was on about with your proportions, you know, but sometimes you've got to make compromises to keep horses sound, shoes on, and the client's happy, which are the three most important bits. And whenever I see a new horse or work on a new horse, I always like to do things gradually for a smooth transition. And I like to look at the big picture. I look at the horse, and we all do it. A horse comes in, got to do this, got to do that, and that's great, but I like to do it gradually to let it all get used to it and make it a smooth transition. And I think sometimes overdoing it can have the opposite effect. And every time we shoe and trim a horse, we can alter the foot conformation slightly, but we can also do the opposite, and we can also make it worse. And I've put my hands up, I've made them worse, I've made them better, and sometimes you take the hoof capsule 2 steps forward, and then it goes back a step, and it is a big working curve, especially with some feet to keep them strong. So I've put down here, these are factors that affect the strength and functionability of the hoof capsule. All factors that I think play a big part in keeping feet strong. And I'm not saying that this is the way I do it, and anyone here that doesn't do it like this then is wrong, because there's so many different ways to shoeing it, and we all run a business, so we all keep horses right. This is just my opinion on it. So the shoeing interval cycle is very important. Regular to suit the individual horse and the work regime, because when it's being shod, especially these weak feet, and they go that extra week, and the shoes have moved forward, the heels have grown in, there's come that little bit of movement in the shoes, and the nail just starts. I think that's what smashes the feet up, when the nail just starts moving up and down in the hole, and it wrecks the feet. So the shoeing interval and the length is absolutely crucial. Medial lateral balance, obviously we want to promote level flat footfall to make the foot be able to function. There's actually a page been missing out of here, so I shall go back. I'll just leave it there for a minute. But I actually had a page on the functions of the foot. So, but that's obviously missing. I don't know where it is. But obviously back to the functions of the foot. What we want the foot to do is support, protect, circulation, assist circulation. It acts, obviously when the horse locks its limbs, it stands on its feet, does that. It's a major shock absorption structure as well. So that was meant to be in here, but obviously that's missed off. So back to the farriery. So we got to the medial lateral balance. So that's what we want to promote. We want to promote this to try and make the foot function as proper as we can. So anterior posterior balance. That was just on about our distances in front and behind and the central articulation. So conservative foot trimming, which I think is a major part, and I've put there foot length, because I'm a big believer in you can either take the foot down or you can take it back, and you can't do both. And there's some feet want to go down, and there's some I leave a bit on from the bottom and I take them back. So then I've got a bit more foot there, so I can get my nails a bit higher and do more work with the foot that way. So, and I've put there conservative dorsal wall dressing where applicable, and then underneath dorsal rounding, which is what we spoke about with the slight radius to the hoof wall. I'm not saying that every foot should be trimmed that way, because obviously a laminate tip, when you want to start getting the horn tubers growing back in the right direction, you want to remove that toe leverage, you've got to dress it back straight. I'm talking about your really weak feet that are overexpanding, they've got a flatter sole, there's not the sole bridge there, they haven't got the strong bars and the strong heel. So you've got to leave as much continuity in that hoof wall as you can, and it's a bit like that. So that's what I'm talking about, dorsal rounding. Shoe choice, section, weight, type of heel. Obviously it depends on the work it's doing, the type of conditions, and obviously the type of foot. So, but I think them 3 parts is an important point. But a lot of this that we're talking about here, we all do on a day-to-day basis. You never think about it. You look at the foot, I want 12.5 inches, I want number 3, and you fit it up and away you go. And this is just breaking it down into basics, which what horseshoeing is. So I've put there type of heel and heel fit, which is further down. And I think that is crucial. And what we were talking about our distances in front of our centre of articulation and putting the feet back into the box, that's in the ideal situation. But if the horse is hunting or it's in fast work, you can't be shoeing it really long and catchy, because they're going to be on the phone the next day and say, oh, it's lost both shoes off, you must be pretty useless, I'll get someone else. So that's when you have to start thinking about what else can I do, because I can't do a lot with the shoe, so what can I do in the foot trimming to put it more in the box. And what I'm talking about there is when the heels are run forward, you've got to take them back to a solid foundation. Once you've got to a solid foundation, your last point of bearing to come back. So then when you shoe it back, you're actually not catchy, but it's actually putting your proportions back. Instead of letting your heels keep running forward and don't touch them because it's got no heel, and then shoeing it long, it gets it in the same position, but it's catchy. So it's trimming your foot to help to put it all back in this so-called box. So I've put shoe fit there, which obviously we'll just talk about the heel fit. I've put there fitting true white line shape to achieve good white line penetration, which I think is a must. And like I say, we all do it. There's so many different foot shapes. I've spoken about one even wall thickness, but we can't put all feet into that. Now, so you've got your pear-shaped feet, you've got your wider feet, you've got your narrow feet. But whatever section I choose, I like to make sure that I can get right into that white line, and that's important when you choose your section. And that's with making you jump from, if you've got 12.5 inches, which is 5.5, do I put 3/4 on it, or do I put 7/8 on it? That's looking at your foot, and looking at your wall, and looking at how you're going to hold that foot together. So, probably one of the most important things is clips. And you might think size, position, shape, what's that? What's that got? You know, a clip's a clip. And a clip is a clip, but I always think that a clip acts as 2 nail holes in the right position. And I shoe horses with toe clips, side clips, quarter clips, and I put toe clips on behind, like you'll see when we come to the case studies. And a clip is such an important part of making that shoe lock into position. And that's what I was talking about with the nails. You know, when they start coming loose, the nails start moving up and down. That breaks feet up. But equally as bad is any, obviously the hoof capsule is always contracting and expanding when weight is bared on it. So we're putting a rigid structure on a flexible object. But it's got to lock into a position and hold in that position, because if it doesn't, then you get sideway movement, so the nails are going to pull through the opposite way. So when I say clip size, I like to, obviously I'm like everyone here, I shoe quite a lot of horses. I use probably majority, 80% machine-made shoes, and the other part I make for the horses individually the night before, and that's when I can start to do with the clips, put them in the exact position for that individual hoof capsule, put the size on that I want. So when I talk about size, you know, if you've got a foot behind that's really weak, you know, the first bit that goes is always its toe quarters and its size. You've always got a bit to nail out at the heels and at the toe. So I like to try and put bigger clips on to try and hold that, to lock it in place. But equally, on the feet that I was talking about before that here, your flat feet, I'm talking about this dorsal rounding to keep the foot strong. I like to put wide, broad clips on them feet, because what I've found in the past, when I was going back to your norm, your dead straight hoof wall, I'd get there and I'd dress the hoof wall really straight, and it would look absolutely lovely. And then I'd shoe it up and nail it on, and I'd go back. She'd ring up after about 2 weeks and say, well, the clenches are up. And I'd think, that can't be. I've only done it 2 weeks. And I'd go back to it, and it's feet. You'd think, God, come now. It must have gone longer than 2 weeks. You'd go and have a look at your diary, and it had gone 2 weeks. And because I've dressed it so straight on this low, slump forward, weak foot, and I'd put quite a tall clip on it, the clenches have all popped up. Its foot has gone, like I was saying with a piece of card. You get a dip right in the middle, right above where your clip is, and your top of your clip's popped out. And that's when I would use a lower, broader clip to keep that into the wall, because, you know, to keep the strength there. So we don't want any. I want to go back after 4, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and the horses look as if I shod them the time before. Not, oh hell, it needs like major work to sort it out. So that's what I think is important about clips, and they're a major part. And if I was putting machine-made shoes on, there's no harm in pulling a bit more out of a clip. Or the next bit, which I do quite often, is setting the toes. Which I do this on a lot of hind feet that are weak, because obviously, like I've said, the weakest part is your toe quarters. And just setting the toe, even that, it's not a lot. It just acts as free clips really, and it also stops, which is one of the most important things, is the horse punching its toe out, because the horse has got a weak foot. It hasn't got that even thickness of wall right around its toe, around its foot, to hold the shoe onto it. So you end up, there's not a lot under that shoe, so that, you know, the horse will punch its toe out, which will spread it. So I do this a lot just to lock it, just put the shoe on the edge of the ankle and dip it to hold that. There's another picture of it front on there, just to show. Obviously, that's for a horse that I've made the shoes up for, and it's got quite big clips on it as well. So that really locks that in place then and stops any movement. So we just spoke about locking the shoe position. Nailing and nail size is really important, especially with your nail fit and your nail holes. And that's when, if I do make the shoes up, you have a bit more leniency then, because you can make and you can stamp your nail holes if you want to use a slightly slimmer nail to nail up. Whereas if you've got to use a machine-made shoe and your nails a little bit smaller, that's the worst thing in the world, because they go in there and they're already half loose already. They're not a tight fit. They've got to be such a snug fit. Nail hole position. It's probably one of my pet hates, and again it's just me, is I hate nails bunched up together. I hate three together in a space like that. I like them well spread out, ideally not past the widest part of the foot, because of obviously all the expansion. We don't want the nail shearing off, but you've got to have them in good, strong, sound hoof and well spread out. And the height to suit the individual hoof capsule. Everyone's probably heard, oh, that Beane just whacks them all up there. And I used to nail them all on. They look great. But like I just said about these weak feet, I'd strip the wall and I'd nail it up. And you've probably got weaker clenches at the top and they just pop straight out. And what you actually want on that foot is lower nailing and a really strong clench that's well into the wall. And then I've put there about the undergroover. I used to use undergroover on everything, but for these feet that aren't growing a lot and you're not getting a lot out of them, all you're doing is you're just taking these little chips out and you start looking at the feet and it's got 6 nail holes in it and it's got big undergrooves. And you actually get a tighter clench on a weak foot without one. So I started doing that. And like I've put there, under nailing is detrimental, but equally as bad as over nailing. And it's right. I've under nailed before, and it's took shoeings to get the feet back right, but equally I've over nailed and it's took months to get the feet back strong again. So I'm a big believer in keeping the foot strong. With my trimming, I like to take the loose sole out, but I like to keep the strength there. And same with the bars. If bars are folding, they've got to be made to a strong structure. But I'm not into taking feet. I'm not a hard foot dresser, and that's because of the way I shoe. I don't dress hard. I think we've about touched on everything there. So now we've come to this dorsal rounding, which, like I said, is a really strong part in keeping these weak feet strong, and it's a big thing that I believe in. But you can't put every single foot into the same category, and if it's got a flare, then it's got to come off. Or if it has got an excessively long toe or a bit of a bull nose on it, then it's got to come off. So, but to explain dorsal rounding is conservative dorsal wall dressing and not dumping. It creates a slight radius to the dorsal wall, i.e. only dressing the bottom third halfway up, leaving the strength and continuity in the hoof wall. So the distance you dress up depends on the individual one. So I've got two pictures here of two, and they're both dorsal rounded, but one's more dorsal rounded than the other one, and that's for the two foot conformation types. So this is the first one, and you probably look at that and it's very hard to see, but it has got a radius to it, and it's well nailed on. But I've got pictures of that when I went back after 6 weeks, and it was still in that, and I believe it's that keeping the strength there. And in a minute I'll show you a picture of it back to the hoof anatomy and try to explain why I think this is a strong part of it. So here's another one, a thoroughbred, Dylan. And you can see there he's quite well nailed on, but he's not as well nailed as the last one, height wise, but it's a different foot, and they're very high for that foot. And after 4 or 5 weeks, you know, I want to be reusing them, which next time the nail line's not going to be quite as good. If I can try and reuse the heel nails and pop a new toe and upgrade to get a better line. But I've been there before and shot a foot and then gone back 4 weeks later, it's not had a lot of foot on it, and knocked it back on again with little tips, and then keep doing it, and that's not keeping feet strong. You know, at the end of the day, when we go back to the ideal of hoof capture, when I was thinking about what is the ideal strong and functional foot, the foot only looks at its pinnacle right when the first time you show it from barefoot. That's the foot at its best. It's got no nail holes in it, it's had one shoeing on it. Then after that, there's different factors, like its diet, its work regime, its shoeing cycle, that all play into fact that start to deteriorate that hoof capsule. And that's when you need to do different things, like we all do every day, to keep feet strong. And we all shoe differently. All the things I've just spoke about, I shoe some horses hot, I shoe some cold, depends on the individual horse. I'm not going to upset one. If it doesn't like the slow, I'll do it cold. And I think you can achieve everything equally as well, hot and cold. But I do prefer hot in the really bad cases, because I think it seals the bottom of the foot and it definitely locks the shoe into position better, especially with the hind feet when you're trying to get that lock and you want to use that set toe. So you've got a weak foot there, and you put your shoe on, and it's not worse than putting the shoe on and the shoe moves all over and you think, I'll put this one in and that one in. You know, I like to get the foot, I've got my set toe, my clips, it's a weak foot, knock the shoe into position, and you should be able to shake the leg and the shoe not come off. And that's using your fit and your clips. And that's when they start to count as nails, because they're held in position. So it's back to the dorsal rounding again. You can see that horse, yeah, he's got a sloping heel, his heel's at a different angle to his toe, and he's not shod that long, but you've got to keep them, he's got weak feet. So my opinion of it is he's got weak feet. He's struggling to hold a shoe on, let alone hold a shoe that's too big for him or shod a ½ inch longer. So especially with weak feet, I always tend to shoe them more of a perimeter fit and to the heel until we get these feet stronger, and then I'll start to alter and start to shoe them a little bit longer and start to alter what I'm doing depending on his work regime. So here's a picture of the anatomy. I drew this when I was an apprentice, so it's not a great picture. But just to remind us really about, when I'm talking about this dorsal rounding, we're talking about in the really weak feet only dressing this bottom third, just from there down really. Obviously it's not all in proportion with the length there and this sole here, but I was only about a third year apprentice. And why I think it's important is you can see here with our sensitive lamina horny laminae, are they interlocked together and they attach to the periodontal surface. And what we're talking about is just putting a slight radius, and we're leaving all the strength round where the bond is. So we're leaving the strength in the foot. And obviously when we bring the horse in, we can discuss then if this horse needs a suitable dorsal rounding, but the majority of horses I do slightly dorsal rounding, but they don't look dumped. You know, it doesn't look dumped, it just looks stronger. So there's back to our pictures. So now I start to ask the question, which is the strongest of the two structures? And that, again, just completely depends on the horse's conformation and its hoof type. And I think they're both equally as strong. But in my opinion, I think the bottom one's the stronger structure. So now I've just got a case study of a lot of horses. This is actually Dylan, which was the picture I just put on a minute ago. This is the first time I've come to show him. It's very easy to jump out of the van and say, oh, look at that. The tube's around the toe and its nails are bunched up and they're not very well nailed and they're in a line. And I've been there before, and I think everyone has done that, and that's not the professional way to go about it. And now I just say, he hasn't got the best feet, he's maybe gone a little bit too long. There's things I want to do differently to make his feet better, and it's up to us and the customer to communicate and improve it and make it easier for all of us. So that was his feet there, but obviously he's ready for shoeing. So that was it after. You know, them nails aren't that high. You know, you can see what I've done about with the clip. It's a lower, broader clip. The nails aren't that high in relation to his hoof capsule. But if we start, like I used to, really nail them up, then that's when they're on the phone and the clenches have popped out, and that's when you're starting to get... I don't like hassle with horse shoeing. I like to shoe the horses, and I like to go back in the ideal world and reshoe the horse and have no hassle. And if there's hassle in between, then some of it can't be helped. But if there's hassle towards the end of the shoeing period, the shoes are loose, then there's something wrong about what we've all spoke about the factors. There's a factor wrong. They're leaving it too long. And I know it's hard because they're all, well, you know, I need budget to get it shot every 6 months. But there comes a point when, you know, it's making it harder for us to sort it. So there's the picture from the side again. So that's Dylan, and you can see the dorsal rounding on his toe. It's not a massive bit, but there's a slight radius there. From the front, it doesn't look like it's dorsal rounded. Looks no different. You know, because this is our shop window as far as this is the only bit that the customer sees and deals with really. This is the bit that is probably most important to them, but every part to us is as important as the next. So this is a picture of the hind foot again. You know, he's ready for shoeing basically. So, and that was the side picture of it. So he's got a little bit more length behind. That's fair enough. It's hard to see. I've set the toe slightly on this one as well, because anything with a weak feet, I just slightly set the toe just slightly. I'm not on about really setting it, you know, just to have that, to create that locking effect. And especially with this foot, you can see the clips are quite small. It's just a machine-made shoe, and you could redraw them clips, but there's not enough there to get the clips higher. So that toe just acts, because you can see where the clip is right in front of his weakest part of his foot. And all you need is him to start punching the ground, and it'll slip back. But with that set toe, it'll hold it there. So this is the next case. You can't see the date there. It's the 26th of the 4th, 2006. So these are quite old photos, and this is a twist, and I still shoe twist today. I've altered his shoeing a little bit. This is the first time I come to see twist. Terrible feet. See, he's got no, this is the right front, got no inside quarter. He's got serious bacteria going up his walls. And back to the management, when we spoke earlier about the key factors, farrowing, management, hoof management. This is a case where hoof management could help, but these people, they admit, you know, they haven't got, probably like the majority of people we shoot for, they've got too many horses and not enough money for them. So every horse can't be put into the ideal situation. So this horse, to me, I would rather to shoe this horse regular, and it's on no feed supplements, and get by as best I can, than shoe it twice as often and it be on feed supplements. So this horse is on nothing like that. I shot it with conventional toe clips in front for a while, and then I shoot it side clips now. But its feet are at the point now where it could go back into toe clips, but when it lands and loads, it lands quite hard on its outside, and it tends to put a lot of pressure on the shoe. So with the two side clips there, it stops it screwing across. So that's from 2006. That was when I shot it that day. It's pretty well nailed on flat foot, but it comes into the category this I would go into of more of an upright foot. So the clenches aren't going to come up so much on this. It's got a strong wall, so we can afford to. And with all the rubbish there, you've got a nail on, and you look at it and you think, well, there's maybe a bit of a flare on that outside toe. Oh, there's some pull downs on the clenches, you know, and that's fair enough, and I have. And with a foot like this, I would have just blocked it up a bit, but I could get it so there was no pull downs above the clenches, and it looked really good, but the clenches will probably pop up. So it's quite a tight job, and this horse is shod perimeter fit. It hasn't got no length. You can see from the side there, side profile, you see it's heel fit, but that foot, in my opinion, back to putting it in the box and the centre of the articulation, this foot doesn't need loads of length, because you give it loads of length, it's just going to rip them off. For now, at this period, back in 2006, the most important thing was keeping this horse sound and keeping shoes on it, and trying to get some foot growth on it, and trying to build a foundation for it. And especially with this, I'd reuse the nail holes next time. So this is the back one. Again, it has got a slight set toe on it, and you can see, you know, the size of its foot, the weakest bit, so, you know, a set toe holds it. You could put a toe clip on. A lot of feet I've put a toe clip on, but I prefer now to do there's two side clips and the set toe to form that lock. Because a good toe clip, great. The strongest part of the foot is the toe, but it doesn't stop side movement, it only stops movement back. Right, now this is the date when these first photos were from the 27th of the 4th, 2006, and I actually shot this horse a couple of weeks ago on the 4th of the 9th, 2008. And whenever I look at feet and assess feet, I always prefer to assess them and judge the job I've done on it when I go back. So I think that's the most important time, because like I was saying earlier about shoeing, I like to keep the foot at the same throughout the full shoeing period, and that to me is keeping feet strong. Obviously the foot's grown, it's ready for shoeing, and it's got a bit of extra, you know, the periopus coming down its wall, but to me that horse's feet have improved. And whatever technique I'm doing with that, which I'm setting the toe, and I'm well spreading my nails out and nailing it on, it's working for that horse, and this is 4 years later. But in front, I've changed the style slightly, and it's got side clips on, and it's worn its outside toe off, and it's ready for shoeing. But its clenches are still in the hoof wall, you're not going to cut yourself on it, and its feet are in a strong condition. And this is it after I shot it. So it's got side clips on the front now. Its feet are a lot better. It's the old set of nails there you're going to have, so I tend to, if I can, nail them up, and the next time reuse them, and then nail it up again. But like what I was talking about, these strong feet, it's very hard. You know, if this foot was shod from barefoot, that's when the foot would be at its best, and that's when it would look the best. So this is the hind one. Hind feet are actually improved no end. It's very hard to see. It's a little bit better, but its hind feet are strong. There's no cracks in the side of its wall. It's going great, and it still has a slight little set toe, but not a lot, just a slight set toe. This is another horse. This is again an old picture. This is 2006. Horse I went out to do called Cassie. It had aluminiums on, and it's a classic of what we were talking about, of a foot that needs dorsal rounding. But you can tell, you don't need an extra of that to tell you your proportions are all out on it. You know, you can just tell that it's long in the toe, it's under at the heels. It's got aluminiums on, which I'm not a great fan of aluminiums on the feet. But like everyone, I've put them on for the weight. But especially on a foot like this, when it's overexpanding and it hasn't got that the sole bridge to hold it together, it hasn't got the bars in the walls, its feet, there's a lot of movement in its foot, and the aluminiums, the heels just wear straight into the aluminiums. And it's just, you never improve the foot because the heels are wearing away by the aluminium, by the movement there. So with this horse, the woman was, you know, this is how it been shod, the farrier he'd actually packed in and gone wagon driving, and it was quite hard not to come in and I didn't want to go in there and say, well, you know, this has got to alter. But I just said, you know, the horse wasn't, it made the job easy, it wasn't quite sound. There's stuff we can do to help it, and I actually put just a pair of the 3/4 freight side clips on, and that is it after it was shod. So it went from that to that, same date, and that's quite a good picture of the dorsal rounding. And obviously I've put a sanding block around that, and you can see the line, but you can see that dorsal rounding on the toe, and it's quite well nailed on. But because of the way that foot was, and it was so run forward, I've opted to shoe this one with a bit more length. I've dressed its heels down to bring its heel bearing further back. You can see how straight it is from its quarter. It's gone so tight in its heel. So that one, the conditions and all that, it was fine to have that bit extra. So it depends on the individual one. Then we'll have a look at a picture of the bottom of it. That's the bottom. And when we start looking at the bottom of feet, we're on about these proportions. And I always like to use the frog as a true centre of this horse's foot, as a true definition. And I like to look at distances, what we're on about putting in the box. You want an equal distance to your outside toe, to your inside toe. And like we said, your cleft should be the same, but it depends on the individual foot. So that was it when I shod it. This was it after I went back. This is the 6th of the 3rd. It was shod on the 16th of the 1st, and this is it when we went back on the 6th of the 3rd. And its foot is still in a strong position. The shoe's still in the position where it was on the left. Actually, the toe, now you look at the toe is actually what I was on about with this piece of card. When you put your pressure on and you have your really straight wall and it goes like that, this toe's actually gone like that, and you can actually see that there's more radius to the front of that. And I don't think the toe's actually gone like that, it's just everything slightly moved forward as it's been due for shoeing. So if we go back to the original picture, there's not a lot of radius on that hoof wall. Then we go back to that one, you know, you can see there's a lot more on it now. And that's how I best explain the dorsal rounding. And in this case, it was spot on. And that's the bottom of the shoe when I went back to shoe it on that date. So you can see it as it moved forward. It's not back to its widest part of the frog anymore. Right, this is another horse. These are just all case studies. This is Nicky. I'd actually shot him once before, but his feet aren't bad. They're just ready for shoeing up. There's a little bit of broken off around his outside there. His hoof capture is quite symmetrical, but he goes into the different type. He's got a longer, narrower foot. That's it, a lateral view of that lateral bit, and I'd actually shot it, and you can see the nails there. The middle one could have gone a bit higher, but when I nailed it on, it went in that position and it was strong. So it's in a strong bit of hoof. In a competition, yeah, you want a straighter line, but it was strong and it was sound and it was going to do its job. So what would have made it worse is me taking that out and then re-driving it an eighth of an inch higher, because that's when you start getting the pincushion effect in the foot. That's the bottom of the foot. There's not a lot to it. I've just cleaned out the seat corns and just took a bit off around the sole. This was again in 2006. To be honest, I wouldn't have took that out now. Now my shoe has developed, I'd have just brushed that foot. I'd have brushed it and I'd have shot it up with a set toe to hold it in position. That was it after I burnt it. That's just to show, you can see the proportions. The frog, I've done the rags on it, and which I think is important. I'm not saying don't trim feet and don't touch them. And that's just to show the shoe shape. The shoe shape there, you can see the toes being set, because you can see it's closed up at the toe. So that's been set over the edge of the ankle. And that should marrow up perfectly to your foot shape. And then there's it on the foot. And this hind foot's a bit shorter inside and out, so I've made my shoe in accordance with that. And if I was putting a machine made on, I would shorten the shoe before I put it onto the individual foot. And you can see your distances on the hind foot again, from both sides, and that's using your frog as a true centre point. So that's just the foot finished from the top, and then that's the foot. That's the foot shot, 31st of the 1st, and this is the foot when I went back 6 weeks later. It's still all in position. You can see the set toe now more. It was working in a sand arena, so the bit of toe I left hanging over is just slightly worn back. So the set toe on this horse as well helps to stop any foreign bodies penetrating into that white line, which is obviously a completely separate subject. That's it from the side. Shoes still in position. The clip you can tell from the picture is slightly coming out, and that's just from the pressure. You can see how much it's worn it out. It's done a lot of work. And if them clips weren't perfectly in the right angle of the hoof wall and fitted net in, then if they were slightly out already, then the shoe would have moved. So you can see the strain that's been on that then. So this is Mickey after I shot him up that day. So he was re-nailed. Now this is a different case again. This is off Alfie. Alfie's a Suffolk Punch cross. He hasn't got the best feet in the world. Very upright feet, very shelly. And for years, I shot him, and I used to put just set toe on him and the clips, and he used to twist shoes off, and especially his toe paws are very weak, and he's a very heavy horse behind, and he works on his toe a lot. So I started just putting one big toe clip on him, and I've made the shoes up for him there. That's some Cottam's Bold, which sadly they're not doing anymore in that section, which that's inch 3/8, and I've actually bent that the wrong way around, which sounds a bit, oh my god, it's really coarse. But for his feet, to get the good white line penetration, that was perfect for him, because he's got very upright feet. So what I was doing, I was putting concave on, which was a bit finer, and I was having to pitch in. Well, for this sort of feet, you don't want the pitch and the fineness, you want the depth to getting deep, and that section was perfect for him to help his feet out. So that's a bottom view of it, and you can start to see, you don't need me to point out, you can start to see your proportions, you see your quarters are symmetrical. Obviously his inside is a lot shorter than his outside. That's a picture from the front. His feet are strong now. I wish I had a picture of them before I started doing them. But and the level flat loading and the breakover, it's going to help it. But I think also you could go the opposite way, and you could start putting these heavier shoes on the outside and start putting too much weight on it, and you could actually make it go worse. But like you could with any style of shoeing, you can either improve feet or you can make feet worse. But I think, yeah, you could, but you're never going to stop how it moves outwards and inwards. That's how it moves. That's how its conformation is.
You don't think that just by, it's not necessarily correcting shoeing, it's just having it correct.
Yeah.
That in itself will correct the flight if there is a defect there.
No, because I think if a horse is pigeon-toed and how it is at the shoulder, it's probably quite tight in its elbow. That's how it moves. So I think you can help it out, landing, loading, and breakover. But after that, you know, I think it's all right if if you did equi-analysis, or you could maybe see and you'd be starting to strain joints and overloading joint margins.
Do you find benefit ever in half shoes?
I don't tend to use half bars, to be honest. They're not a shoe that I hardly use. I think for a pigeon-toed foot, I think my idea of a half bar is to relieve the loading from one side, and I can't see the benefit of relieving the loading from one side of a pigeon-toed horse, unless it had a problem, like a heel crack or something like that. So I don't tend to. I think the main problem is level flat footfall and even weight distribution. I think that's the most important thing. And getting it landing right, loading and breakover.
When you were talking about putting on that lateral brake, you said about cycling, would you go to say half a shoe down, or just talking about a small encouragement to?
Yeah, it depends on the individual horse. But I have a little endurance pony, and that was when I started doing that. I just made a pair of bar shoes up for it. It's a little Arab, it's got really narrow on heels, so you keep giving it a bit, its heels just get more and more contracted. So it hasn't got any of that frog pressure there. It needs a bit of frog pressure, which gets that from the bar shoe kissing its frog. And I started, it's got a bit of a spiral lift on it, so the highest one is obviously on its inside, and then it flattens down. But it depends on the degree of the animal, and it depends, like I say, on how you trim it. But I trim them, watch them walk up, shoe them, and I watch them again, and then I watch them when I go back. And then I think that's the only way you can judge it, is to keep it. It's like an experiment, basically, to get it comfy. And every horse is different.
Do you find then also your liaison with veterinary surgeons is problematic because they don't understand that because you've put that lateral extension to it and then encourage it to break over, they feel that the lateral extension is now lost? Not getting that prize over, so to speak.
Can you just repeat that again?
If you fit the lateral extension, do you feel the veterinaries don't understand why you put a lateral brake to a lateral extension? Because they are saying you need that to support.
You mean the roll on it?
The roll on it, surely they would say what you were commenting about as the foot touches the floor, it goes clack.
Yeah.
First trying to point to the outside of the toe, then lands to the inside.
Yeah.
A few people I've spoken to, if I've done that, they've said, you've taken away the purpose of the lateral extension. Why have you done that?
No, because you're misunderstanding me. Say, it's quite hard to explain. Say this is the side of your section of your shoe. Okay? We know it's the shoe box. Your lateral extension, this is your ground surface. So your ground surface is normally flat. I do it in the middle. They wouldn't even know. I'm not doing it here near the foot. It's beveled from both sides, so it helps to break over. But you're not taking away point of the extension. The extension is how far it comes out.
Well, in this case, they're maintaining the purpose of it was that it should be on the ground. You then take it away and theoretically move your support system inwards because if it bumps it off or you're rolling.
No, I haven't taken it inwards. It just hasn't got that bit there, but it will still, you know, to be honest, we talk about balance and making horses land level. How often do they work on this surface? The majority of the time, they're on an uneven camber of the road, they're in the arena, in the sand, in the mud. So, yeah. No, to be honest, I think more important is not the extension, it's getting it landing level. And if it's landing like that, and that's to simplify it, it's landing on the outside edge, and that's causing it to snap down on the inside, you've got to ease that. Because that's the problem, is the snap down. Not the landing outside, that's not the problem. That's how it moves, that's how it lands. It's the snap down which is the problem. And that's to roll it, to comfort it.
Would you use medial lifts in that as well or not?
Yeah, I just said then, you know, like I said this morning when we looked at that horse, if I couldn't have got that, if I couldn't have done, there's only so much you can do with every hoof capsule, and then you have to decide, I can't do anything more with this foot, so then I've got to do it at the ankle. So yeah, I would use a medial lift, yeah.
Or that was wrong.
Huh?
Or that was wrong. I deal with veterinary people. I got asked last week to put a lateral extension, a medial lateral graduated shoe, yeah? When I did it, there was no square edge. It was on a Stromy roller.
Yeah.
To me, great shoe, allows the horse to break over. I don't want it to crack to the floor.
No,
I
yeah.
want to ease to the floor and ease to lift. At the end of the day, it's toe rotated inward. It's going to want to break outside.
Yeah.
What a line of resistance.
Yeah.
But when the vet saw it, he said, that's not square. It needs to be square. So
Well, that's where the vet is educated. And that's where you've got to have
to get them to understand what we're doing.
But the vet's ideal way of dealing with tooth practices, to be honest, they don't dictate to me how to shoot the horses.
No.
I shoot the horses, we have a discussion about it, and if there's a problem, you know, I palm my hands up. I can do a horse and maybe it ain't landing quite right. And that's when every time you go, you've got to reassess it. But I think if the vet's saying that, then the vet shouldn't be saying that to the customer, the vet should be coming to you, and you should be both there together and discussing that horse and how to shoe it. That's what I'd say about that.
So crap there.
No, I'm not saying that. Right then, we'll get on with the horse and we'll keep going.
Good save on the work.
What's he doing? He's still going to this. I was just talking to that big brother.
Going now. Weight distribution, and his front right is his worst foot, and he's really flared on that inside, and he's really upright on that outside. So that is the foot that needs the most. So I'm going to put the handmade shoe on that because I can do more with the handmade shoe than I can with the other foot. And the other foot's not so bad, but again he wants a bit more. He wants his toes back a bit as well, and he is landing pretty flat. But what sometimes happens is when we start giving this front right that width, then he might start landing outside first. But that's just straight to assess every time you shoe him. You've got to keep assessing him and see how he's landing. So what I'll do is I'll start with this right front, get some steel chopped off. So straight away, just looking at him, I go for inch per frame, concave on him. And I'll put a bit in that outside heel and see if we can get a bit up that outside. But I'm not talking about massive amounts, I'm talking about a re-establishment of the basics of his foot, which you can see now. And this is the prime sort of horse that I'm talking about, that's crying out for a bit of width of that outside. And your proportions, and you can actually see underneath the proportions already. If we use this frog as a true centre, you can see your distance from your outside to your inside, that there's more to the inside. So we've got to get that distance right, but we've got to get round the lateral as well. And where it's fitted to the foot here, which is, is the pear shape, this is where we've got to come round to support that. Medial lateral is good, he doesn't have a lot of heel anyway, but he's got a good solid frog, big frog, which is good. He's not too keen on being in here, is this lad, because we've seen him before. So again, he doesn't like the lineage, so I'll just do it by hand.
Can't with this one, I'm old now. I think once she's finished, she's going to break up what things.
Someone said to me outside, do I never shoot them with quarter clips? And I do shoot with quarter clips, but the problem when you put a quarter clip on there is that dictates how you fit the outside, because your quarter clip's got to fit to the outside. So if you want to do that, that's when you have to think about extending the shoe on the outside of that quarter clip, i.e. getting a piece of wrap. Sort this shape out. Look at it. So he's quite tight in his toe quarters, and that's not the shape of his coronet. And I find if the horse has been shod in quarter clips for a long time, it does start to force the tubules to go straight, and it starts to dictate that shape of that foot because it's holding that toe together. So when I start looking at his foot now, but remember the principles of the dorsal rounding. Good lad, good lad. So when I dress this dorsal wall, not going very far up it, it's another case that doesn't want a lot of dorsal dressing. So this outside now, when I dress this outside, it doesn't want any outside dressing on it, because it wants all it's got, so you've got to go around it. So there's no point dressing it to make it easy to fit, because you've got to get around it. So it's a classic case. You see the hoof rings on the outside are the compressed, got no outside on it. And then you need to start looking at this heel. You've got to get a really good heel on that and jump on it to fit round it. An inch will be spot on for that. So I'm just going to calculate how much to cut. It's cut quite a long foot, it's going to take up quite a lot of steel. So I measure the toe to where I want to shoe it. And then the width. The easy way of doing it is to put your length there and there. That tells you what you need, plus what you want for your toe bend. I'm going to go with 14 3/4 for that. The reason what I've done is I've done my length plus my width plus 2 inches for the toe, and I've plus half an inch on for what I'm going to put into the outside heel, because I'm going to put a bit of steel in it. When I picked the foot up, I looked at it and I thought 14 3/4. So that's what I'm going to go for. And that's how I evaluate the steel. Upright heels, no pencil heels, just upright heels. Fancy being a chopper. Where's Dorian? Where's Mick? Is Mick in here? So we're going to go and chop that now. The reason I've got this one off first is obviously this is the time to make the shoe. So the horse he's just not too keen on being here anyway, so we're going to crack on a bit. I'm going to make up, I'll follow the outside branch, the other foot, I'll just stamp it up on the inside edge. But we know that this foot's more in proportion, you can see straight away, that's pretty good. It still wants a little bit, so this is a case when it does want a little bit of a lateral extension on, but compared to the other foot, what I was talking about taking the outside edge off for if they're landing on the outside edge. You know this horse is just so trouble. He's landing level. So on that other foot he wants that as much as he can around the outside. So in this case I'm just going to shoe him out there. I'm not going to ease it over. know, it's just the right to want to come off it. There's not a lot of dressing to the bottom of this foot, just a little bit to come back. It's like I said, we're going to do stuff gradually, ensuring to make it a smooth transition. So Glenn's going to put that outside heel as a fire for me, so I can put my jump into that. Now I'm going to make it in an efficient way. When I put the jump into it, we're going to heel it, and then we're going to bend the toe and spin the outside. So I just tidied that quarter shape up. I haven't stripped it in because we want that outside there.
I don't think it looks efficient. I don't think you want the back kind of with the light on. I don't know, because yours should have been killed up as a...
Yeah, no, shut that. Turn the lead light on.
That's a good idea. Switch it on for me, I had no idea.
Well, we're going to say wait till he's finished, just after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe turn it on. Just a switch, I think. Powered it down there. Light on it.
Steve, just going to turn the light on.
You'll be alright, Steve, turn light on.
Huh?
Just turn the light on.
Yeah, hang on.
Brilliant. Well done. Right, so Glenn's gone off to give me a machine name to put on the other foot. So I just want to spread this heel a bit, just to get a bit extra weight. So I want to be a decent jump to let it gradually come into it. I don't want to just come round and there'll be a massive lump on the end. You know, I just want to just gradually get it a bit, because where we fuller it, that's going to spread that part. So we want to make the transition between where the fuller it is and the heel. That's plenty to start forging the heel. You want quite a round heel on it. If you put too checky a heel on, you won't get onto your heel and round it. So you want a bit of a lump on there. So now we'll spin it up. I'll just wait for the blender to come back with a ruler. Then we'll mark it up. Normally I just chuck it in and just spin it and do it, but I want to show you where the centre is so when we come to clip it. So if anyone wants to come and have a look at speed, you can. There wasn't a lot to do to it. Right then. Right, so I've marked that up in the centre. Put that along the diagonal to try and get as much heat as we can along the whole branch. Sometimes if you've got a short pony and you really want to try and really cosmetically make that look better, is get a marker pen, go straight down the centre of your third metacarpal, put your marker pen right where it lines up to, and then trot it up and see where that marker is then, and see if it does make it look a bit better, and then you'll get your clip exactly where you want to. I know where I want it, so I'm just gonna put it on. A bit all around this outside. So I'll bend the tone up, bend the outside, and then I'll mark the fuller in. Where the fuller's going to go, you're going to obviously fuller on that top edge, so it's pretty thin. So just before you mark your fuller, just run your hammer along that ledge, just to flatten the concave a bit, just to make it easier to fuller. So it's got quite a tight toe shape, so you've got to put that shape into it to fit his white line. So get the toe right before you move on. Lateral box. Flatten that bit we're on about now. When you follow, it's all about the action. So when you move your follow like that to move and down. So when you hit it when it's down, the shoe won't jump, even though it's pop. Can't jump when you're holding it down. Okay. So that's what we've got so far. We've got the full around. The box is back of it. Okay? I do a lot on the back of it, yeah? I'll do that when I fit it. Don't overcommit yourself yet until you get there with it. A good trick if you're in your exam, a diploma or associate, is measure it now and see what the length is. We want 6.5, we measure 6.5. If that heel's cracked on it, it's still measure 6.5. If it's too wide, it's still measure 6.5. So you know you're in the right ball game before you've committed yourself to the whole shoe. You know you've got a shoe that you can get on that horse. Yeah, I'll just try it on. So I just asked Glenn to get just an exercise up to see if I can do a bit more with that.
A bit dark on screen.
But now I'll be better with the other ones.
That one was nice.
There's just too much there really. So I'm going to go with a 4. So what we're going to do is try and turn this symmetrical shoe into what we can to on this horse. So we're going to have to pull this heel down. This is not a heel. So you're going to have to pull that down to get more width. We're going to put some more nails on this outside. It's actually quite easy with this strumming because the concave is quite flat. And what you have to do sometimes on concave shoes, like if you're trying to put your stamp, on there, it's very hard because you've got a really narrow edge. So what you want to do, which is a good trick, is get your stud punch, and where you want your nail hole, put your stud punch on it. See what a nail hole right there, put your stud punch on it and give it a smack. And that puts a circle, a little indentation in it, and then it's easy to stamp then. So you're not putting it on the top and it's slipping off or it's slipping course, and it gets it right in the right place. So that's what that was for. But with this strumming classic, that'll be fine. So we'll put the outside of that in first. And we're going to do the modifications to it before we do anything else. So before you put this, just check your shape. Do a little bit more. You want to go quite a steep on an acute angle. To pull that down, adds to the width. Round with your follow again. stamp it, you don't need a lot of pitch because you've got the depth there. So I tend to go more upright. And that's how the branch of that side of the shoe made up now. Bit open shape of his foot, quite wide in the heel. Just make what you've got in front of you. So before I stamp these lateral halos, just have a look at the foot. See where we want to put them. Especially on the horses I was talking about earlier, that really contract and keep coming over. Got to view inside. I'll put my nail holes on the outside forward and I drop my inside back. And sometimes I'll put 4 and put 2 on the outside. Or you know, just whatever I've got really. It's actually, because of the way these Stromy Sentries are stamped up, they're quite coarse anyway, but we do want a little bit more coarseness than what we got, but there isn't going to be a lot of difference because they are quite a coarse shoe. So, we know we're going to sort the shape out first. Put your quarter where you want it. So, bring that round, down that heel down. Tidy it up down there. So look where we're going to put them now. Yes, that's that branch done now. I haven't gone a lot coarser, you can see. Not a lot coarser in that. Can you zoom in at all? Or? If you look at the laterals, they're only a little bit further in. So I'm not radically going coarser. But you need to get that little bit more extra coarseness. So back to this inside. So I'd make this like I was making them every day. So I heel it first. Keep it nice and flat. When you go to safe it off, you want to lean it across, and that kicks the inside up instead of folding it away. So lean it across a bit. Then you don't get that awful delve on the inside heel. And then level it then. So, it's not a piece of complicated, you just got to, when it twists, just level it. and then stamp her up. So check your width for it now before you clip it. Remember to check to where your foot ends, not the width that side, because you're giving it width. You measure the foot, which is 6. So check the width for your shoe. It's about there. So we know that that's 6.5. So in theory it should fit. Check where you're going to put your clip. Look at it. I know where I'm going to stick it to that outside, so I can see the mark where I'm going to clip it. So we'll put that in for a little clip and fitting. We'll go back to you just want to tidy that heel up a bit, there. Tidies your inside check off. Now I'm ready for a look now. So remember where you're putting your clip, not in line with the point of frog, to the outside. A bit full up that outside for what I want. I'm going to put a new nail hole in this middle one, you'll see what I mean, right? When I've got it nailed on. So in my opinion, the work you have to put into modifying the machine made, you're quicker and the results with the handmade are a lot better. So that one's a little fit up and a rasp up then. So I'll just clip this with a ball pin. Just remember where the clip's going cosmetically. Level it up before you draw it.
Fix that. The inside's quite a good fit on that, but the outside's too bold. Too much shape there. It's not 5 minutes, bit bold inside toe. I'll tighten that up a bit. It's a little press on, just pull it down a bit. And then normally I'd miniature it up, but this horse isn't keen on that, so just rub the rest around it. Right, then we'll get that tidied up and we'll get it on. Yeah, I'm just not happy with that in the toe, so I'll have a heat on it. It's better that way than to nail it on if you're not happy with it. Because if it doesn't look right now, it won't in 6 weeks. And I would do that at home as well. If I wasn't happy with it, just give a heat on it to sort it out. So we're just going to open this fullering up a touch. This nail. Clean them out while you have the heat there. It's too hot to rasp, it just bends all over the place. If you form half decent heels when you make the shoe, there's not a lot of asking to do to them then. And you shouldn't have to rasp the front tag, and you shouldn't have to rasp the clip. So both these just want to push on now and sort them out. So this one, where I wasn't happy with it, I sort it out. You probably think, oh, he's only tapping it. It's only just wants a little adjustment, it's not that far out. It wasn't quite right. See if I've got it now. So you can see what I was on about earlier about look where your nail holes are. And you can see pretty clearly there where the nail holes are, further through. You see right on the white line, ideal. That's as good as I can get that with the machine made. Ideally I'd want a bit more cover on the outside heel, and you'll see that with this other shoe. Your perimeters are a lot bigger when you're making the shoe up, and especially this right foot. You'd struggle to shoe that. I wanted to shoe it with a modified machine made shoe. But you can help it right. To get it ideal.
it's very hard with your perimeters. Just sit that there so it doesn't cool it too much. What I'll do is I'll nail the machine main one on, and we can pass this one round to have a look at. A little donk on the inside. Does everyone understand what I mean about you can see where the nail holes are burnt on the foot? Yeah. It's all common sense that we all do every single day of the week, and you don't even think about it, you just do it. And you can see it especially on the outside. We haven't got a lot of wall to play with. And that's as good as I can get it. I know my limit, and that's it. That's what we've got. Anyone have a look? Pass it round and everyone can have a look at it on the foot at the end. I'm not going to cheat the foot, so you'll see when I take off when I clench it. If I've cheated it, you know I've cheated it. So, when that shoe goes round, if you look at the characteristics that we talked about earlier on the shoe, the lateral heel, lateral nail position, clip position, and that's it really, and the section. Box this lateral toe off when I work for the nails. Normally I just stick it on a linen shoe, I use it every day. This is how it works, isn't it? Right, and I'll start tapping this on that shoe comes round and then just let me know. So again, I'm not going to clean my sole out because I've done it when I trimmed it. So maybe cedar corns if they need it. But these are okay, they're pretty clean. So That's fine, I don't start carving out. Check it's in the right position. Reversed the bolt to get the depth of the nails, so I could do it that way instead. And there's two ways of doing that. So that was the shoe for it. It's not a great shoe, it's out in the toe, it's fair enough, but the characteristics are there. The nails are well spread out, it's nail form free, it's doing a lot of work, it's a big foot, 14 1/4 inch 9 foot, a bit of inch for 3/8, and it's reverse bolt to get the extra depth there. And there's it on the foot, and that's it from the front. So I could get the nails a decent height, and it's got a massive clip on it to hold it in position, and that's back to our clip size. So this is just a pony I went out to shoot Stilo. It's got good feet, you know, and this is just, again, just about promoting and maintaining. At the moment, that foot, it's a bit weak around the edges. And you could say it's quite a strong roof capsule, which it is up above. But the reason I've brought this picture is just to so we all know that if that horse loses that shoe off, that foot is going to be back to its optimum. It's going to have a point at its toe, and it's going to have two at the heels, and it's going to be hard to shoe. And that's the only reason I've brought it, is to say that if we do put the nails a little bit higher, then when they pull out, they just straighten the clenches and they pull off. And 9 times out of 10, you go back and just pop it back up the old nails. It makes it a lot easier for everyone. And that was it after I shot it. And you can see by how I've shot it. There's some growth rings in its foot, and you could strip all them out, and you could dress straight up and get rid of all them growth rings. But it's strong. So I want that foot to look like that when I go back in 6 weeks. I don't want it to look absolutely beautiful and all sanded off and great. If I could, that would be great, as long as it looked like that again when it was due shoeing. So this is just something, it's coming to the end now, this is just something different to, which I think is important, is when you've got really, really weak feet and you've done all that I've said and you're pulling your hair out, if you've ever tried putting a heart bar on one, that front pressure on it and the loading is absolutely fantastic for the feet. And that is, if I'm really struggling with a foot and I can't do anything else, I would definitely put a heart bar on and take the load. And the heel loading is fantastic for promoting that foot. And that's a picture of it from the side. But that's a laminitic one, so obviously I've got more dressing into the wall then. So it says at the bottom then, any questions? We'll have a coffee break, and then there's a horse coming. We're going to have a look at it, bring it in. I'm going to shoot 2 feet on it, and it'll be quite an open shoeing. You know, when I've fit the shoes, anyone can try them on. You know, it's all about, that's why we're here, is to learn and to see my point of view. So if anyone has any questions, just ask away.
When you set the toe on a handmade shoe, you put more speed in.
What's that, sorry, then?
When you set the toe on a shoe you make,
Yeah.
do you put more steel in the toe?
I think what Glenn's saying there is not about when I set the toe on a hind shoe I've made, do I put more steel in the toe? Meaning, do I make a bolder toe?
Do you jump it up?
No, I don't jump it up, no. No, I don't jump it up. I just make the toe shape to suit the foot, and then I set it. There's nothing worse than just getting a shoe that doesn't, it's got to fit that toe shape to be set. You know, setting in the clips works brilliantly, but I'm not saying just get any shoe, try it on, set the toe, job's a good one. It's got to fit that foot, but once you set the toe, it's very hard to alter that foot. So if you've got a tricky foot that's really broke up, shape your shoe up, go and have a look, don't burn it on, back to the anvil, and it's minimum amount of setting, because all you're doing is you want that bit forward to hold it into position. So your shoe has got to be the right shape before you set your toe. Say this foot here, this is a prime example of, it's very tight in its toe quarters, it's very straight. So you've got to have that toe shape in your shoe, and you can see it there, it's a tight toe in that shoe. So a machine-made shoe for that foot, you've got to put the characteristics of that foot, the quarters, your toe, into position before you set it.
Do you ever set a front shoe?
Yeah, I do set front ones, yeah. Especially if they're quite hard on the shoes. I did one the other day. It always goes 8 weeks. It's a new horse to me, I just shot it conventionally, toe clips in front. And she run me up, lost a shoe, so went out to it. I didn't just think, I've lost a shoe, he's lost it in the field. I looked at it and I thought, well, why has it lost this? I picked up the other foot, I looked at the other foot and it had slightly moved slightly. I thought, well, that's simple, you know, it's moved it across. So when it's landing, it's obviously landing irregular, and that's obviously moved the shoe. So when I shot it the other day, I shot it in side clips in front and I set the toe.
Do you think we're quite guilty in this country of having material that is too fine in its section and that we actually abuse things a little bit too much? I'm not in disagreement with you, of course, rounding, I do that myself.
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of problems that we get are actually robbing feet too much?
Yeah.
And because of that coarseness of nail position, I'm sorry to say it, but I think it's one of the major defects we have. We're not coarse enough.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is for any company that making shoes, you know, you can't just get, and I'll be honest with you, in my van, there's loads of different makes of shoes in there, and I think some shoes suit different feet differently. So I wouldn't put my hands up and say, right, by this type of shoe, this shoe will suit all your horses. I myself couldn't shoe all my horses with one type of shoe and not making any shoes. So, but I think you're right, as I said before about conservative foot trimming, and I'm a big believer in that. But if you're doing that, then you've got to have the shoe and the section to get hold of that foot. And I think what we do is we have shoes that aren't quite coarse enough, so there's nothing else you can do, you've got to take it in. But it's the bigger picture when you go back, that's important. Yeah.
Explain why that shoe is short needle.
Short needling, that was for that foot. And for me, for that foot, I shoe the hind foot to my bearing, you know. And I've been talking about putting it in the box, and that's great, but I'm not a big believer in having a quarter of an inch past the inside heel, where it can catch itself, tread it off, it's a cross on its frog, so it depends on the individual foot. So that was for that foot, which is there, which you can actually see on that foot, which is there. And to make it so it was balanced, you could lower that inside. But then when we go back to the picture from the top, that foot doesn't want to be lowered on that inside. So for me, this is how I shoe horses. You can see there with your different bearings. And I always say the inside up on the foot. And some feet when I make the shoes, I'll start with a larger section and I'll really narrow the inside up, because you always want to be fitting your centre of your stock. But sometimes when you're outside, you need that little bit more cover to cover that heel, but it's too clumpy on the inside. So I will mark it further off centre and run that inside up. So I'm fitting the centre of the stock, so I'm not into the inside, I'm fitting down the centre of the stock, but it's not catchy.
You know, I agree with what you're doing there. I go on my fit a lot, and watching yours,
Yeah.
They mentioned that, really. They're not placement of shoe now. I want to watch yours and where the logo is for the logo.
Yeah, that's important, yeah. I'll mention that more this afternoon when we talk about shoeing the toe in horse. But yeah, you've got to be shoeing it for how it's moving and how it's loaded. But this talk isn't about how we're shoeing every horse how it moves. This talk is about promoting and maintaining a strong and functional hoof capsule.
Yeah, but that goes with the function of the foot's impeded by the weight bearing.
Oh, it is, exactly, yeah.
So therefore, the placement of the shoe is promoting the...
It is, yeah. It's critical, yeah. And if you have one behind that is slightly cow-hopped, then the worst thing it wants is a really short inside shoe. You know, obviously you want to get parallel landing, you know. But this is mainly about promoting and maintaining a strong and functional hoof capsule. And I understand what you mean about assessing the horse, and I do that. I watch them all walk up, and then I show them.
What's your advice on the really bad case of white line disease?
White line disease. Well, that goes back to your hoof management, really. I think you've got to cut it out and open it up, and then they need to treat it. So that's how I. But it depends on the individual case. But you've got to have a shoe on there to keep it comfy and keep its foot held together. So in severe cases, you'd have to put a hard bar on it or a full supporter shoe to hold it. But when I dress feet, if there's any crack up the wall, then I tend to I will dress it off. But especially if there is a white line bit that's going up your horn, up the outside. Say if this outside quarter here was all having seedy toe, then I would get my rasp and I'd take that straight off at the line. So the bit that was mealy was taken off straight to stop. You can't let it just keep going up there. It's got to be trimmed off. But obviously, the further is you have to go back down your key factors with your hoof management.
Do you, whether you want to just sort of maybe leading into Alan's this afternoon, the use of this roller set overnight?
Yeah.
Do you find any changes in the front feet that maybe lower in the heel? They are theoretically, because you sped up or eased the brake over behind, you may make the fall of the horse move easier and less compressive in his heel.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying here about this set toe behind is it's not a massive set toe.
No, that's enough though, isn't it?
Well,
to make
you don't have to get your rasp and dress it. It's a tiny set toe. It's a minimum amount.
But if you look at most horses that are low in the front, they generally tend to progress through to the back end. If you look at the toes on the hind, there's generally a roll already worn into.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
almost emulating putting on a broken toe
Yeah.
shoe.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any changes in the front end? Do they tend to then move from having an axis backwards to an axis forwards, where they may be more on the forehand?
Well, whatever you do on the feet is obviously going to have a huge impact on the whole thing. But yeah, I do shoe with radical set toes for getting the feet back and altering the brake over. That's fair enough. But what I was on about here was a minimum amount. The bottom of the foot, the bottom of your shoe is only slightly off. It's millimeters. But the brake over part that we're talking about is right across where your true nail position is. That is still there. So the brake over that's still there. Still got a brake over that area.
Yes, but it's
Yeah.
aided, that's what I'm saying. Does it?
Yeah, it will aid it. Yeah, it will aid it. Yeah,
But hind feet don't break over so much, they more pick up.
So it's sensible horse cycle.
Well, it does, yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me again. If you're barefoot trimming, do you tend to encourage the hind toe break?
Well, with barefoot trimming, it depends on the foot type, and when I was talking earlier about foot type is determined by the conformation. When I'm barefoot trimming is exactly the same, and I should have said that with a weak flat foot. When I barefoot trim it, I would dorsal around it, and I would leave the strength in there. And the horses I've done with that maintain the feet, but I like a really good round edge on a dorsal trim. But I think it needs as much bearing as possible as well to walk on. So I'm not a great believer in rolling the toes off now.
You've shown us some really good pictures where you've actually improved good quality with your
Yeah.
electric things, but you haven't mentioned whether it's been backed up with any additional management of these.
No, I said at the start, these horses that I was talking about, Twist and all these, none of these are any feed supplements. And that's hard. And the reason I started this in 2006, because I started doing my thesis, and this was going to be my subject for the thesis, was promoting and maintaining a strong foot. But it's very hard to, what I'm trying to say is, you can say what you do, but it's very hard to say, do this, and this is your conclusion. Because the environment, the management, the length the horse goes, and like I said earlier, the feet they'll improve, and then they'll go back a step. So I stopped doing it in 2006 because it's very hard to have an underlying conclusion, which you need for your fellowship. Whereas if I did it on shoe weight to the horse, how it affects movement, then it's quite easily done, because you can shoe the horse, get your equinalysis on it, you can attach weights to its hoof wall, have a look at it again, put more weight on with your car weights on your hoof wall, do it again, and you can see, and then you can leave that horse, go back a month later, do it again, and you can see how it's probably, with its muscles, it's probably, though originally it would have exaggerated its action, it's probably levelled off and it will move how it used to move. Same way if you put aluminiums on or heavy shoes, the initial period it exaggerates the movement, but then its muscles develop and it moves how it naturally, comfortably moves. So that's why I stopped doing it, because it's very hard to say. So all that I've talked about, and all the key factors, are factors that I think contribute to making feet strong.
With your application of half-hour in conclusion there, that you
Yeah.
assisted, do you use many Vetex soft ball pack?
Yeah, I prefer to use Equipack. I do use Equipack, and I think it does help on the feet. But I don't think you get enough strength from a piece of Equipack. I don't think it improves feet. I think it just makes it more comfortable. So, but on really weak feet, a hard bar definitely improves. Frog pressure, in my opinion, is good for a foot. And whenever I put a normal bar shoe on, I think it always wants to be kissing the frog slightly. Not burnt into it and not undue frog pressure, but frog pressure is definitely. In the past I've had feet and they're so low and weak in the heels, you've got to set the bar down, and you set the bar down and you make a really nice gap under it, and when you go back to it next time, if you look at it, it's lowered down to it. Same way laminated. I don't like sole pressure, but I don't like massive gaps under the sole, because foreign bodies get under there, and the whole foot descends on weight bearing. So I think it's got to have a solid base. But I think the equi-build and Ulster flat, it helps, but I think, in my opinion, it helps in horse comfort and not in keeping feet strong. Because if it helped in keeping feet strong, we wouldn't shoe a foot, we'd just dress it and we'd fill it full of equi-pack or equi-build. And that would be all that horse needed. It's just another tool in the box.
Any more questions?